Hi, I'm Wendy Stute with the Montana Department of Health and Human Services. We've invited parents to chat with us today about parent rights and procedural safeguards for families who are participating in early intervention programs.
I'm Laura McKee with the Montana Family Support Services Advisory Council. Early intervention teaches families how to help their children who may have delays in development or disabilities. It's nice to know there's a process to follow to get help.
Hello, Wendy and Laura. I'm Molly Mills, a family support consultant. Let's meet some parents who are participating in early intervention programs.
Hi, I'm Gina and this is Joe. When my son wasn't reaching certain milestones, like other children his age, I had so many questions.
I'm Lori, and this is my mom, Allison. My son, Evan, was diagnosed at 6 months.
Early intervention has made a huge difference in his development.
Hello, I'm Casey, and this is Marty and our daughter Bailey. It's important to know what choices we have as a family.
And that there is a process to follow if we're not satisfied with the answers we're getting.
My name is Brad, and this is my wife Felicia. I wanted to know what would happen to my son Kian when he turned 3.
Planning ahead is really important to us.
We have a lot to talk about. Let's start with early intervention supports and resources. If you suspect your child might need some extra help, have them screened as early as possible. Your child and family may be eligible for early intervention services. The first step is to identify which supports and resources you might need. You may help choose the services you want your child and family to receive. These supports and resources are provided to eligible infants and toddlers ages birth up to 36 months.
As a parent, I was happy to hear that there was no charge for early intervention services.
Families have the right to have their child screened and evaluated, and if eligible, to have an individualized family service plan within 45 days of a referral. The eligibility team will help decide if your child and family qualify for early intervention services according to Montana state guidelines.
As parents or guardians, you have a right to participate in every part of the referral, evaluation, and eligibility process.
Families eligible for early intervention supports and resources will be assigned a Family Support Specialist, an FSS. This early childhood interventionist is a specially trained professional who will work closely with you to guide and support you in learning how to teach your child. While you may not be a trained specialist, you are your child's most important teacher. Your FSS and any other early interventionists involved with your family will work with you to help you reach your child and family outcomes.
We learned so much from our family support specialist. She walked us through every step along the way.
If eligible for early intervention supports and resources, families will participate in the development of an Individualized Family Service Plan, an IFSP. You are a key member of the team creating the IFSP, and you may invite anyone you wish to an IFSP meeting. The IFSP will list supports and resources that will help you reach the family-centered outcomes you help develop.
Your IFSP is reviewed formally every 6 months or sooner if you request.
Families have the right to receive early intervention supports and resources in the child's natural environments to the greatest extent possible. These are places like your home, your child's daycare, parks, playgrounds, libraries, and other community settings.
Intervention is most successful when supports and resources are delivered in natural settings and when they are part of the child's and family's daily routines, like meals, dressing, and nap time.
Transitioning from early intervention at 36 months of age is a process. Your FSS will talk to you and support you in developing a transition plan to meet the needs of your child and family. Part of this planning is determining if your child has needs that require other services beyond 36 months.
Discussions about transition will begin at least 6 months before your child turns age 3.
Because you know your child best, decisions will reflect your wishes.
Our early intervention program must give you advance written information about any screenings, evaluations, supports, resources, or any actions affecting your child. Families know their children best. The information that you share with us will make sure that the evaluations, support, and services are right for you. The written paperwork assures that you get all the details before any activity takes place. You'll also be given advance written notification before the discontinuation of early intervention supports and services.
It's your right to thoroughly understand all activities and written records about your child. If you prefer another language or another way of communicating, such as Braille or sign language, we'll get an interpreter and use your mode of communication if at all possible. We want you to understand so you can be an informed team member and decision maker.
The Early Intervention Program needs your permission to take any actions that affect your child. You'll be asked to give your consent in writing before we screen, evaluate, assess, or begin any supports and services. Be sure you completely understand the suggested activities. Your family support specialist will explain to you what happens if you give your consent or if you do not give your consent.
By being involved, you can help plan supports and resources that match your family's preferences and needs.
We place a high value on the information you and other service and healthcare providers have learned about your child. We may ask others for this information, but we need your written permission to do so. Just as the Early Intervention Program needs your permission to get your child's records from other providers, the records that we'll develop won't be shared with anyone unless you give your permission or what we are required to provide by law.
It's reassuring to know that my child's records will be kept confidential.
The early intervention record is your family's record. You can see anything in our records about your child and family. If you don't understand the way the records are written, the information in the child's record will be explained to you in a way you understand. You're a team member, and we want you to have the same information as the other team members.
And if you feel the information is incorrect or incomplete, you can request changes or additions.
With the other members of your child's early intervention team, you will consider which supports and resources can best help you accomplish the outcomes you want for your child and family. Since early intervention is voluntary, you'll be asked to give your consent for those supports and resources you want. You don't have to agree to everything recommended. You can say no to some supports and resources and still get the others you do want. If you decide to try other supports and resources at a later date, you can give your consent then.
I appreciated that I could change my mind about any of these services at any time.
A child has the right to a surrogate parent to represent him or her. When a parent is not identified, cannot be located, does not have a person acting as a parent, or the child is a ward of the state, the Family Support Specialist will handle this process with the designated state office if there is a need for the appointment of a surrogate parent.
If you and the early intervention team do not agree on plans, supports, or services, or if you have other complaints about your experience with the program, there are procedures for resolving your concerns quickly. You may contact the director of the early intervention program, the state representative at the regional office, or state Part C coordinator in Helena for guidance. Mediation will be offered as a voluntary first step and may be used anytime you wish. A trained, impartial mediator will facilitate problem solving between you and the early intervention program. You may be able to reach an agreement that satisfies you both.
If you're not satisfied, you can go ahead with a due process hearing to resolve your complaint.
A formal complaint may be filed with the Montana Department of Health and Human Services if you feel your rights have been violated or that there has been a violation of the law. When a formal complaint is filed, the state office is responsible for investigating the complaint.
You may contact the director of the Early Intervention Program, the state representative at the regional office, or state Part C coordinator in Helena for guidance.
A due process hearing is a formal procedure. It begins with a written request for a due process hearing. You may contact the director of the Early Intervention Program, the state representative at the regional office, or the state Part C coordinator in Helena for guidance. A due process hearing will assure that a knowledgeable and impartial person from outside the program hears your complaint and decides how to best resolve it. We recognize your right to make decisions about your child and will take your concerns seriously. Thanks to everyone for chatting with us today. If you would like more information, ask your local agency for the Family Rights and Procedural Safeguards Handbook. We are confident you will learn a great deal to help your child along this journey, and we are delighted to be partners with you.